Welcome back, everybody. Thanks for joining us here at A&M Homestead. I got some special ladies here in the kitchen. Here, they're going to be cooking a dinner here. I got my beautiful wife, Marcia, and our good friend, Carrie, from Louisiana. And Carrie, what you got for us today?
Well, I'm going to show you guys how to cook Southern-style greens. It's a tradition that down there, it's a holiday side dish. And we've got a lot of greens in the garden right now, so it's perfect time of year to make these.
Now, you going to be able to make enough of this for me? Or is it...
I don't know. We'll see.
All right, we'll give it a shot. Well, let's see what we can do and see how it looks. I guess Marcia's going to help you out?
Yeah, Marcia is going to be my helper today, so yeah.
I get to learn how to do greens.
Yep.
All right, well, let's see what we can do. You guys just hang back and just keep an eye on it and see how it all goes.
Well, before we start cooking our greens, we're going to try a little tip that I heard that might actually add a little bit of extra flavor ahead of time. We're going to soak the greens in a solution of chicken broth, salt, and water. And so I'm going to mix that up here and pour it into our bowls. I'm going to do half, so this is like 2 cups. So I'm going to do 1 cup in here. Let's see here. All right, that's about 1 cup. Another cup in here. We're going to top it off with some water. Marcia is going to add some water to these bowls here. So the reason we have it in 2 different bowls, they're actually from 2 different states. So I picked these in southern Louisiana a few days ago before I drove up here. And then I found out that there is someone just down the road here who still has some turnip greens in their garden, and big turnips, and these are the turnip tops. So right here from southern Illinois, we've got some turnip greens here. So I noticed when we were prepping these that they had a little bit of a different flavor. So the ones from Louisiana actually had like a sharper, more spicy flavor than the ones here in Illinois. And I'm wondering if it's just because of the colder temperatures up here in Illinois, the plants might have caused the plants to put forth a little bit more of a bitter flavor. So I'm just curious to see if the cooking process is going to change that flavor at all. So we're going to cook them in 2 different bowls and we'll just kind of see how they turn out. So I wanted to show you what these greens looked like the way they were when they first came out of the garden. So the reason we had to do a little bit of prep yesterday, Marcia and I, is that when I picked them, they looked just like this. They were all still together. They had these really big, thick stems on them. And in Louisiana, there was still lots and lots of these little aphids that really like these mustard greens. So these are what mustard greens look like. And then there were some turnip greens as well. These are, yeah, this is the turnip greens from Louisiana. So all these little textured areas, all these little aphids like to hide in there. So we actually did a tip that Marcia told me about to get those off. We soaked them in bowls with a little salt water, and then that killed all the aphids and got them off, made it a little easier to rinse the greens off. So we did that last night and today before we got started. Last night we also took the thick stems off. But then the turnip greens, then you know, similar leaf to the ones there in Louisiana. These are the ones from southern Illinois, still with a little bit of turnip on them here. But that's how it looks like, just coming right out of the ground there. So we're gonna get our pot started. We've got some butter here and we're gonna put a cube of butter in each one. I'm gonna let that melt, and then we're gonna throw in some onion and some garlic and start sauteing that, and that'll be kind of our base before we add our ham and then eventually our greens. We're gonna add the onions now. So now that the onions have softened a little bit, we're gonna add the garlic.
All the bits and pieces.
Definitely got to get the best part out. to make my eyes water a little bit.
Yeah.
Now that the onions and garlic are nice and fragrant, we're going to add the ham to our pots. Uh-oh.
Hand sliding.
Well, now that the ham has had a chance to kind of simmer in with the onions and garlic a little bit, we're going to go ahead and add our greens and let those kind of simmer in that and get the good flavor on before we add our broth and our water.
These are the bigger greens too.
Oh wow, that smells good. I don't know if you can smell that already. I'm smelling the spiciness of the greens mixing in with the ham. Now that these have cooked down a little bit and gotten some of that nice smoked pork flavor in the greens, we're going to add about a half cup of chicken broth to each pot. We might add a little more if we want, but we don't want to add too much. We don't want to make it too watery. So some people, when they cook this, like to have like a pickle flavor. So some people start out with pickled meat, or they'll even add like vinegar to it to get that kind of sour flavor, but we wanted to go for a savory flavor, so we are using some smoked ham that Alan smoked right here, and that's kind of the way Louisiana cooking is. We flavor things with a lot of meat and we add seasoning sometimes when we want to, but we really want the good smoked flavor of the meat to come out. Alright, so we are going to add a little bit of seasoning now that the broth is in. So I'm just going to do a pinch of crushed red pepper flakes in each of the pots here, just to add a little bit of heat to that smoked flavor. And then we're going to balance it out with a little bit of salt and pepper. Now that these have been simmering for about 30 minutes with the lid on, we're going to take the lids off and we're going to do a taste test. I think mine, these are the ones from Louisiana. I could tell that they were still a little more spicy whenever we were cooking them. And I think there is a little bit of bitterness in here that I might want to balance out. Maybe at the end with some caramelized onions for sweetness.
Yeah.
These are also a little drier, so I might add a little more, more broth.
See if it's any different. The green.
So for this last step, we're going to add some turnips. These are the turnips that were in the ground just down the road here. Kind of amazing how big they can get when you just let them grow, and it doesn't mind the colder temperatures. So yeah, they just got really, really big, and so we went ahead and we cubed some of them up, and we're going to add that to the pot.
I got ahead of myself and went ahead and did mine.
So earlier we had added a half a cup of broth to each pot, and it wasn't quite enough broth, so we went ahead and added another half a cup to each pot to equal 1 cup total. Again, you know, we didn't want them to get too much broth in them, so that was what was simmering for about 30 minutes. Then just now we noticed that this bigger pot actually was a little drier than the other one, so we added some turkey bone broth that Marcia made to this pot. And now that we've added the turnips, we're noticing they kind of need a little bit more broth to cover the turnips. So we're gonna go ahead and add the rest of this. Did add a little more spices to taste, and I decided that since this pot was a little bit bitter still, I was going to try a method that I found out about where I'm going to caramelize some onions and stir those in and see if that maybe adds a little sweetness. So I'm just going to saute a few of these onions that I had chunked up here, or as Jeff would say, onions. Tasted the Louisiana greens and the Illinois greens, and it's really hard to tell which one I like better. I was noticing during the cooking process that I could smell the spiciness of the Louisiana greens more, and even maybe taste a little more bitterness. Earlier, you know, when I said, yeah, I think I need to add some caramelized onions to kind of balance it out. But after adding more pepper and we ended up adding caramelized onions to both. They're both so good. It was like so hard to tell. Yeah. They've got like their own unique flavor. It's like, oh man, these are really good. These have got, you know, a little bit more heat to them. But this one's good because you can taste more of the spicy greens and the ham. So yeah, it's hard for me. What do you think?
Yeah, I like that because you actually taste the greens better.
Mm-hmm.
This one is good too. It just has more of a spice to it.
Yeah, because of the peppers, the red pepper flakes and the black pepper that we added. So, what do you think? Which one did you try? Okay. Good old Southern Illinois greens, turnip greens. And that was the other thing too, I forgot to mention, these had turnip and mustard greens. These just had the turnip greens. So that might also affect the flavor a little bit.
Merry
Christmas,
Christmas,
everybody.